Stanley Cup, Stanley Cup. It's a Stanley Cup, and it's for a guy named Stanley who liked to drink out of cups. Woo! Stanley Cup song. Hit me up, NHL. Well, you can read my shirt. This is my Stanley Cup Playoffs shirt. If you watched my video last year, you'll know this is my Stanley Cup Playoff shirt. Why don't we just jump right into it? I want to start in the East, because I'm weird like that. And we're gonna start at the top because we're not that weird. And Boston and Florida. Now, I feel like this one's pretty clean cut. I will say, as good as I think Boston is, I'm not very high on them. I don't think they're gonna do a lot in the playoffs this year. No matter how good you are, when you face an entire regular season without any sort of adversity or anything, like, I understand they had some injury problems, but even those were handled pretty well. I think, they're a good team, but I think Florida can give them a little bit of a, they can give them a little bit of a run for their money here, because I don't completely buy Linus Ullmark, and I think in a series where he has to play a high-powered offensive team consistently, and the Bruins do as well, I don't think they're going to perform as well. I think they're going to, being able to do that is going to kind of, be a little bit of a change in scenery for them in a way. I don't think Florida really has the system or the defensive acumen to win this series. Even their goaltending, I don't trust that Alex Lyon keeps this up. If Alex Lyon doesn't keep this up, I don't even know who their goalie is. So it's just kind of good luck. I don't think they'll win it, but I can see them making it close. But I do pick Boston in this series. Now we get to immediately a very fun one. We talked about this last year. I could just copy and paste what I put last year. And no, this is a different year. I feel I picked Tampa that year, and I for the most part was planning on doing that again this year. However, then they started sucking really bad, and I'm kind of like, God, it's just this team isn't very good. And the Toronto team, while I think they did too much, I think is still good enough. They kind of found their groove, and they've kind of remolded together, and I think that's not going to be a problem for them. I think Toronto wins this series. I just don't think Tampa Bay is good enough anymore. Toronto has too much skill. They've put a lot of focus on the back end. They got some really nice pickups. Let's say it like this: if Tampa Bay wins, this series is going 7. Toronto wins, this could go 4 or 5. To be completely honest, I think Vasilevsky can only do so much. I don't think Hedman is going to be able to turn it on this year. I just feel like this is Toronto's year, so to speak. So I think I got to pick the Leafs here, and obviously, we'll see how that goes. And then now we get to one. I thought this was going to be a controversial pick. It seems that everybody and their mother is agreeing with me in picking the Islanders here, and I don't know if it's just because Carolina is very good or if it's because of the same reason I have. My reasoning is that you have one of the best. I'm going to say this right now: the best goaltender in the league. I'm sorry. Anyone who thinks Linus Ullmark is better, he's not. But when you have such a good goaltender and a good defensive system going against a team that struggles to generate offense, they literally just throw pucks on net and hope they go in. They don't score a lot of goals. They don't have guys that score a lot of goals. Without Andrei Svechnikov, they just don't do very much. Granted, he's a very not good playoff performer, so I don't know how much moves for them playoff-wise. Freddie Anderson has not been very good this year if he's starting for them. I don't know. Carolina just doesn't have that guy to really overcome their kind of mediocrity, I guess, so to speak. I think this is probably the Islanders. I think this goes the distance. We could easily see a repeat of last year where Carolina wins all the home games and then they lose the one that matters most. I'm not sure. And then we get into another really good series here. This is interesting. So New Jersey and New York. So this is really how much do you believe in a team's playoff experience? Because the Devils are the better team. It's pretty obvious. I think most people would agree, unless you're a Rangers fan or you hate analytics. The Devils are the better hockey club. They have more reliable talent, I would say. A better two-way game. Their only question mark and their only disadvantage in this series is Vitek Vanacek as opposed to Igor Shesterkin. And that's the thing. It's in the playoffs. A goalie can be all that matters. And I think that there is a strong possibility that the Devils, they're so fresh to the moment. They can't take it. The Rangers just punch them in the face. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year with a worse team, and they just be like, no, get out of our way, children. I personally am going to pick the Devils because I think they're the better hockey team. I don't really trust that the Rangers can do this again. Make another run is a very not good team, not a very good structurally sound team, not a very good defensive team. I don't trust that, but I was wrong about them last year. I'll probably be wrong about them again because that's just kind of how it works. All right. So I mentioned the games that I'm gonna pick them in already. Well, actually, I kind of didn't. I think Boston gets it in 6. I think the Panthers give them trouble. I don't think they go to 7 though. I think the Islanders, like I said, I think they win it in 7. Toronto, I could see them winning in 5. It's just one of those things where I think if Tampa Bay doesn't, it could be a slog of a series and Toronto wins it, I guess. I'll give it 6. I'll give it 6 just for the benefit of the doubt. New Jersey, I think they go 7. I think that one goes the distance. I think all of these series are actually going to be pretty grueling. I think these are going to be some pretty long series, and I think they're going to be very entertaining. Like, grueling is a bad way to put it. I think these are just going to be some fun. This is just going to be fun hockey, especially in the Eastern Conference, probably in general. Okay, now we'll start at the top, and we'll go with the Avs and the Kraken. So, I'm going to be talking about this one a lot as an Avs fan, if you couldn't tell. I pay attention to the Avs a lot. With the team's first ever foray into the Stanley Cup playoffs, I mean, we saw it with Vegas. They swept LA in the first round. It's like, I don't know. They have a lot of guys who have been here and done that. I think as a team, they're obviously pretty fresh and new, but as individuals that comprise the team, I think they have, enough experience. They have a lot of guys. I mean, their starting goaltender has won 2 Stanley Cups. And he's been better this year. He's the X factor in this series, kind of. He's an X factor in this series. We'll say that. Philip Grubauer, I don't know. He's been pretty solid. He's been his best against the Avs. The question with the Avs is, can they get meaningful depth scoring when it matters? Can they stay healthy? And can Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen continue to just kind of like produce like madmen? Just kind of go nuts. I think it might even out a little bit more. I think they might not produce quite as much, and I think, the depth might step up a little bit more. They have a lot of guys that they brought in because of their acumen when it comes to the playoffs, and I think, some of those guys can easily, do that. Personally, I just think the Avs are the better team. I know a lot of people will be cheering for the Kraken, and I can see this being a very close series. Just the Seattle plays the Avs has played the Avs very close this year, and they're a quality hockey team who's kind of built for the playoffs, and they have a lot of playoff experience. So I can see this going quite far, but I think the Avs are going to win it. I mean, they're where they are for a reason. Now we get to Dallas and Minnesota. This is going to be, I think, the most boring, worst series of all of these. Minnesota plays an incredibly boring style of hockey, and Dallas is more than fine with that. Peter DeBoer, totally cool with that. Minnesota, I'm assuming they're starting Philip Gustafsson. I don't know. Like, they could start Fleury just out of legacy, but I would think, if you want to win, you start the guy who's been one of the best statistical goaltenders in the league. I think that could give Dallas some fits for sure. I just think Dallas is the better hockey team. I think Minnesota, they were at a lot of hot streaks, and I think, they got hot, and now they're cooling down just the wrong time. I think both of these teams are pretty evenly matched. I think they have some star power. They have some kind of questionable depth and defense. The goaltending is going to be pretty good if Philip Gustafsson can keep it up. Obviously, that's a big question mark. This is his first, full year in the league, or his full, like, you know, as a rotation goaltender. I think Dallas wins it just because they have a little bit more of that star power to push them over the edge. I think they're just a more talented hockey team, and I think, you know, they can break through Minnesota's system and get it done. I think it's going to set up for a little rematch of the 2020 bubble. Okay, and then we got Vegas and Winnipeg, a little rematch of the 2018 Western Conference Final. I don't know. This is an interesting one because Connor Hellebuyck is a big X factor in the series because Vegas doesn't score a lot. Vegas isn't a super high scoring team. I think Winnipeg can make this a tight series if they care. I don't know. Winnipeg has this weird, like they completely, like they had, you know, at least a divisional spot, and now they've all coasted all the way to a second wild card. It's just, I don't know, man. This team is weird. Their culture is whack. I don't know. I think this could be a tight series. I don't really buy how legit Vegas is, but I think they're good enough to beat Winnipeg. It's all about Connor Hellebuyck, and I think he might be too drained to win them a series. I think he'll make it close, but I don't think he'll be able to win them a series. There's enough guys there from when Vegas beat them. Maybe they won a vendetta. Maybe they're mad. I don't know. Maybe that pushes them over the edge, but I just think Vegas is the better hockey club. Their structure under Bruce Cassidy has been very good, and I think, you know, against this team like Winnipeg especially, I think that can be a big deal. Then we got another rematch, Edmonton and LA. So this one, rematch from last year, it's kind of weird. So, I mean, you look at last year, LA got better. I mean, obviously so did the Oilers, kind of. I mean, they got Ekholm, and that's a big deal. And they got better in net. This is a weird series for me to predict because I feel like it's Edmonton. I feel like it's going to go 7 games again, to be completely honest. I think this is going to be a tight series because the games these two teams have played have been incredibly close. And really, it's just going to come down to, can LA stop Vegas's penalties, power play? Because in these games that they played, it's a complete slog until they draw a penalty, and then the Oilers just score on the ensuing power play. Jonas Korpisalo has been very good for LA. He's going to have to really be on his game this series. And obviously so are Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I mean, that power play is that team. So that's going to have to keep humming along. I kind of want to pick LA just because I think they're a better team this year, and I think they're suited well to take care of Vegas, but I just don't think they can. I think it's going to be another 7-game loss for the Los Angeles Kings. Ha. Hilarious. Okay, so for this one, I think Colorado in 6. I think this will go a little bit further. I think Seattle can give them a little bit of a run for their money. Vegas, I could also see this going 6. Dallas, this is going 7. Edmonton, 7. I think all these series are going to be really close. I just really can't see teams running away with their series. Okay, so let's move on to this final 8. We're going to go back east again. Boston and Toronto now. Remember how I said I don't believe in Boston? Yeah, I don't. I think this is where their run comes to an end. I think this is, you know, Toronto beat their demon of getting past the first round, the team they lost to last year, and now they get the chance to kill the ultimate demon. And to be honest, I think they do it. I think they're a good enough hockey team, and I think with that star power, they have the ability to overwhelm Boston and their structure. Really cause some problems for maybe expose Linus Ullmark a little bit, and they have the defense to be able to stop Boston. And I think they have enough guys they can, you know, not kind of screw this up to Boston this year. Now, the big problem with both of these series that I kind of neglected to mention in the first time for some reason is Ilya Samsonov. We'll see how he does this year with a bit more of a challenge that he's faced all year. I think this is Toronto's year. I think they've done a good job making their team. I think they have every part that you need. You need good quality skill, quality defense, good enough goaltending. The Avs proved that last year. It's good enough. It's good enough. I think they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals past Boston. I just don't think Boston can handle it. I think, you know, there's some flaws with Boston. They don't produce a lot outside of David Pastrnak. It's really David Pastrnak. Like, I mean, you look at that score sheet, they have some pretty nice depth. I don't know, man. I don't feel confident in a single team coming out of these, but I feel probably like the best team in the East, I would probably say, is Toronto. but they're also Toronto, so I don't know how much I trust them. Anyway, so then we got the Islanders and the Devils. And I think, you know, the Islanders can give the Devils some fits, but the Devils' structure is still very good. It's going to come down to how does Vitek Vanacek do. If Vitek Vanacek doesn't do good, then this is probably a New York showdown, and this whole conversation is meaningless. But I just think they're good enough that they could overcome the Islanders. They have, I mean, Jack Hughes has been nuts this season. They have Timo Meier, quality scoring there. He's been around the block. He's been in the playoffs a few times. Jesper Bratt's been very good for them. They have enough scoring ability and potential to get past the Islanders. And the Islanders aren't a very good team. The Islanders have a little bit more of that playoff experience, and I don't want to undersell playoff experience, but I also don't think that, you know, I don't know, just such a large gap in skill and ability is just not something that can just be overlooked because of playoff experience. So I think we're going to set up for a pretty fun matchup out east in Toronto and New Jersey. Would be my pick. And now we go back west. I think Dallas will give them problems. I think the Avs will give Dallas problems. Peter DeBoer and the Avs, not a fun combination when it comes to the postseason. They're very well-matched teams. I think Colorado is better defensively. They've been pretty good against Dallas this year, but I mean, that doesn't mean a lot. When it comes to that, I think defensively they can do a better job shutting down Dallas than Dallas can do shutting down Colorado, because Colorado has better defense and a higher top end. I think the Avs win it. I think they slay that demon. And then we get to Vegas and Edmonton, and now this is where I could see this being the most lopsided series of the entire playoffs, and I think Edmonton could easily sweep this. I mean, I just think Edmonton can just abuse this Vegas team. Their goaltending isn't very good. They got Jonathan Quick for reasons I don't know. With Ekholm, they've been good enough that they can stymie, and, you know, Stuart Skinner's been good enough that he can stymie Vegas. Edmonton can give Vegas fits, and I just don't think Vegas is equipped for it, and I think we're going to get a rematch of last year's Western Conference Final. I think Edmonton's going to win. But let's go back out east, Toronto and New Jersey. Now this one is interesting because these two are in completely uncharted territory. At this point, like, Toronto has more playoff experience, but I mean hardly more. They got one round more each year, and that's really not good for anything. God, I really want to pick New Jersey here, to be completely honest. I don't know, man. I kind of buy the hype with New Jersey, but I also don't know. I just don't feel like Toronto's going to be able to take it all the way this year. I just don't know with Ilya Samsonov in net. I just don't really trust that. This is like a tough series for me to pick. These two teams are very evenly matched. Their question marks are the exact same. I mean, goals per game, both 3.4. Goals against per game, 2.7. I keep wanting to pick New Jersey, so I think I'm just going to pick New Jersey. I don't know. There's a world where both of these teams are out in the first round. But I don't know. I have faith. These are my predictions, and I have faith. So I picked the Avs to win last year, and this hurts me, but I think Edmonton wins this series. I don't think either team sweeps the other team. I think this is an actually close series this time as opposed to last year. Last year was a close series, but I mean, Edmonton just couldn't get the other goal. I just think this is Edmonton's year. I think they did the right moves. I think they finally have a goaltender that can get them across. I think Connor McDavid, has enough of a supporting cast that he doesn't have to pull this team by himself like he did last year. I think when you don't have a dead Leon Draisaitl, I think that makes a big difference. I don't know. It pains me to say it. I think Edmonton wins this series, and part of me might be saying that just because, I don't want to seem like a homer. I'm not sure. I feel like deep down in my heart, I think the Avs win. This is for an interesting Stanley Cup final that I've picked here. The Devils and the Oilers. God, there's a lot to think. Like, last year with, the Avs and the Hurricanes, I felt pretty confident. This year, I don't feel confident in these predictions at all. The Devils have a really good penalty kill equipped to handle that. Their goaltending, if they get this far, if they get past the Rangers, Islanders, and Toronto, there's no reason not to trust their goaltending. I kind of want to pick the Devils here, but I don't know. I just don't buy that the Oilers are so for real. I think this is New Jersey. If I were to pick two teams, I would pick the New Jersey Devils to win the Stanley Cup. if it was these two teams. I don't know, they have a more balanced and more sustainable style of offense, and I think they have a good enough defensive system to take care of Connor McDavid. They're fast, so they can go punch for punch with the Oilers, and I don't know, I just think they have the guns to do it. The first rounds, I feel fairly confident in. After that, I don't know, man. I don't know, this is just what I feel in my gut. So I have the New Jersey Devils winning the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, man, I don't feel confident about this at all. Total goals, fuck if I know. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, this could be a very high-scoring series. Go 6 games, I would say maybe 8 goals a game. We'll put in 62, because that's 26. Oh, I said 62. We're done. We've got our predictions in. Now it's your turn. It's your turn to get your predictions in. Again, it's a free entry. You get a free prize if you do this right. I don't give a shit if you know anything about hockey. You can do it. Because this playoffs are nonsense. I'm probably going to get a worse score than you are because I don't know what the fuck that I just picked. But I did it. And you know what? You can too. It's not that hard. Go off vibes. Go off whatever you want. It's free. It's easy. All you got to do is click the link down in the description. You can join my Discord. It's there too. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll put it out there too. Join. Do it. It's completely free and you win a prize. You win free money. You know, it gives you a reason to follow. This stuff's on national television. If you're not a hockey fan, guess what? You know, you're not doing anything at night. Click on a hockey game. See if you get your predictions right. You know, maybe you'll find a new favorite team. Maybe you'll fall in love. Maybe you'll win. And that's all that matters in this world, is winning. You can do it. You can win, and I believe in you. All right? Join the link and win. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Woo! Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup.